Hey everybody, how are you? Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing tonight? I see a lot of my peeps on here. Hey Kelly, hey Julie. Hey Kathy, thanks for sharing. Hey Charlene. Hey Susan, hey Faye. Hey Kathy. Hey Tina, hey Tammy. Hey Liz from Florida, how are you? So how has everyone's week been so far since I talked to you guys, I guess last week? It feels like forever ago, but it's only been a week. Thank you for sharing, Belinda. You're so sweet. So tonight I wanted to stray a little bit away from, the typical Easter stuff. I feel like when you get up on a holiday as a cookier, it's like that holiday can overtake you, right? So in between watching lives of that holiday, making your own cookies for that holiday, looking at pictures for that holiday, it's like you're inundated with that holiday. So I wanted to do just something a little bit different, and I'm going to do a really cute kind of springish type theme that, by the way, is really good for a couple of different themes. I mean, you could do it for baby showers, you can do it for birthdays, you can do it just for general. These will just be kind of like a general type, but you can easily translate them into different themes if you want to do them for like cookie orders or anything like that. Hey Zona, how are you? Hey Sarah. Hey Ann. Hey Letitia. Hey everybody. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now before I do, I'll talk to you I'm doing 3 cookies tonight. I will go ahead and talk about kind of what we're going to do. So the first cookie here is our little bee. We're going to be decorating a bee. If you couldn't already tell by our little border here, kind of what we were doing tonight. And our keyword tonight is honey. So if you put in honey, it'll take you to some really, some different links of stuff we have going on. If you haven't seen it or if you're not a part of it yet, we have a new free group. It's called the Cookie Connection. Dots and Bows, I think it's DB Cookie Connection is actually what we named it. It's a free group and it's for all cookiers. You don't have to have a business. It's for if you do hobby or as a business, whatever. It's for all cookiers just to kind of join up together, meet other cookiers. It's a good way to see kind of who's in your area of the country. We have some people that are finding out they're really close to each other. So it's kind of cool because then you can, do some meetups if you want and stuff like that. So it's just a lot of fun. You can bounce ideas off each other, post pictures. We just wanted to have another community group. So it's been a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that and you want the link and to find out about that group, just put in honey. And then you follow all the directions in your Facebook Messenger inbox, and it'll take you all to that. Along with, like every week, if you haven't joined us here before, we have a product page on our website, and we give you live links to everything that I use that I can give you links for on every single live. So it's a really good a little package there of everything that I've ever used, basically. And then we also have links in there if you want to check out my ebooks. I have a couple of ebooks I've written, so if you're interested in something like that. And we also have tag downloads that we have for purchase on our website. And of course, if you are in our cookie crew, you always get those for free. But we do have those on the website. We have all occasion ones. We have Easter ones. We have a lot on there that are loaded, some teacher ones. So if you're interested, that's there too. Okay. So now that I've kind of gone over all of that with everyone, let's go ahead and finish talking about here what we're going to do. So we're going to be, like I said, we're doing this little cute bee, and then we're going to do a simple little white daisy. And by the way, if these look a little weird, this is some leftover dough I had. I was doing some Easter cookies, and I popped them in the freezer before I do all of my Easter stuff next week. These are my regular sugar cookie recipe, but they have Easter M&Ms in them. So if you see the little spots on there and you're wondering what that is Easter M&Ms. And then the last cookie we're going to be doing is a little honey pot. Okay, and you can see where I've kind of just sketched out some little, just for while I'm decorating, just to kind of keep me in line with all of my spacing and everything like that. Hey, everybody. Hey, Allison. Hey, Darla. Okay, so the first cookie that we're going to go ahead and get started on, I'm trying to think which one I want to do. We'll go ahead and we'll start with this one. So if you can see, I went ahead and I did this little midsection here with the yellow icing. I did that ahead of time and I let it dry because I'm going to do a little bit of airbrushing on it. So I wanted that to be dry, obviously, so I can do the airbrushing. So we're going to do that. And the reason why I did it was I did not want to get my airbrush color on any of the surrounding areas where there's going to be icing. So I just did this strip first and then we'll fill all the rest in. I don't change anything, Darla. All I do is, like I said, it's my normal. And I use, I always double my cookie recipe for the most part, unless I'm only making like a dozen. But if you're just doing like my standard recipe, I do a half cup for every normal recipe of cookie dough. I do a half cup of like crushed up, not crushed up, but just kind of broken up into smaller pieces of M&Ms. You can also, if you don't, like these were Easter M&Ms, if you can see like the colors, the pastels. But if you wanted to use like little mini M&Ms, those work really well too. Okay. So let's see here. This is, by the way, I'm going to tell you where you can get one that's somewhat similar, but I made this stencil because I didn't have a honeycomb stencil on hand. And the reason why I made it, it was not just for this live. If you can see, I've used it. It's actually going to be one of my little sets for teacher appreciation. It's a bee and then there's a plaque that I use this stenciling on that's going to say something. So anyway, I made this stencil because I didn't have one. So unfortunately, I don't know where you can find the one that would be exactly like this since I made it. But the Cookie Countess I know has one that has like the smaller little honeycomb openings. So I do know for sure she has one. I'm sure other people probably have them too. I just don't know off the top of my head. I didn't go looking around. Like I said, I just made this one myself. A roll. I have not tried to roll out oatmeal yet. No. It sounds really good. But no, I have not tried it yet. Okay, so what I thought would be kind of cool to do on this, and I'm going to take this off my turntable. Actually, I'm going to move all this out of the way. Anytime I airbrush, I just put like a paper towel down because then it just keeps a lot of residue off of like my table underneath and it's easier to clean up. So let me lay this down. Okay, so for the honey pot, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so y'all can see. I keep forgetting every week. I need to like adjust my settings on here because I feel like my zoom it's weird. Something happened to it. I don't know. Okay, so for this one, I am going to use our little honeycomb stencil here. But I'm not going to do a honeycomb over the whole thing. What I thought would be, I'm trying to place this a little bit how I want it. What I thought would be kind of cute is to only do like a little bit here in the corner and then just do some shading around it. So I don't want the honeycomb pattern covering this whole icing area. I'm just going to do a little bit here just to kind of have it peek through. Now, my icing color is really, really close. Hey Peggy, how are you? My icing color is really, really close to this airbrush color I'm going to be using, and this is Golden Yellow by the Cookie Countess. So what I figured I would do is I want to make it a little bit darker because I want it to have a little bit of contrast where you can obviously see it on the icing. I don't want it to, you know, be the same shade and it not show up too well. So what I figured I would do is I have these, I think I used this last week. I can't remember. This apricot color. It is an airbrush color by Americolor. I'm going to do like 1 drop of this and 1 drop of the Golden Yellow just to give this a little bit of a deeper color. Okay, so I have my airbrush over here to the side. So like I said, I'm just going to do 1 drop of each because I don't need to do a whole lot of this color. So if you're in the cookie crew, we got all of the rolling pins and the airbrushes in. So Carrie is starting to pack away to start getting those out to everybody. Okay, I'm going to test my color over here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to just do a couple of these little tiles on the hexagon. And then we'll just do some really quick shading around the edges. I don't want to cover the whole thing. I just want it to be kind of like, you see what I mean? I just want that to be like a little bit of an accent there on the side. And then what I'm going to do with the same color, I'm just going to go along my edges and do just a little bit of shading here to give it just a little bit of depth. I'm going to try not to turn this. I should have had it on a turntable, but, you know. Louise, yep. Well, all the cookie cutters were just sent out at the beginning of this week. You should have an email, Louise, with the tracking information. If you don't see that email, check your junk mail folder. But anytime we send any of the cutters out, you will get tracking information to go along with it, so you can track where they are. Sometimes, for whatever reason, depending on the area of the country they're going to, they're a little bit slower. But I know folks have just started getting some too. Okay. So if you can see what I did there, I just did a little bit of shading around the edges just to give it a little bit more depth. See that? And then I just did a little bit there on the corner. Okay, I am going to get rid of this color in my airbrush really quick. Let me give this a good spray real quick and we'll move along. And we can start doing a couple of little areas here on this cookie, and then we'll jump back to another cookie and work on that. Oh, you're welcome. All right, so let me make sure we're good here. I don't want to really have any residue left over in my gun for when we, because I'm not doing much else. I'm doing one other color in it here in a little while, but it'll be towards the end. Okay, so let me move the paper towel now that we're done airbrushing. I don't need that all in the way. Hey Roxy, how are you? Pam, the Cookie Crew is a monthly subscription. It's a cookie tutorial subscription group that I run. And I do in-depth cookie tutorials in there. We do classes. And it's a lot of fun. We have a really good group of ladies in there right now. If you're interested, our doors will be opening again at the end of the month, towards the end of the month. But all the information for it is always on our website. So if you want to check that out, if you go, like in the link, if you go put in honey here and you go to the link to the product page, you'll be on our website anyway. But there's a whole different page dedicated to Cookie Crew and all the information there. Okay. Let's see here. Roxy says, when you do a dehydrator, what temp do you have it at, and how long do you leave the cookie in there? I usually have mine set around 90-ish, between 90 and 95, and I don't leave it in there very long at all, probably between 5 and 10 minutes, just to really get a good crust on the area that I'm wanting to just start drying, just so I can start move on to different details on the cookie. You don't want to leave it in there too long or at too high of a temp, because it'll dry your cookie out. Okay. So off to the side here, I have my little paint palette, and I just added a couple of drops of black airbrush color. And what I think would be cute to do is I wanted to come in here and this little open area for the pot, right? So to make it, give it dimension and have it kind of like more of a 3D look, I wanted to have this black here on the interior so it looks like you're looking into the opening of the pot. Okay, so we're just going to paint that on, and then we'll go and add some icing around it. Hey Patricia, how are you? Thanks guys. Yeah, my crew members love it. It's such a great group of ladies. We have a lot of fun in there. And we really try to be honest, we really try to give them really their money's worth. And we try to make it a great community, you know, of a lot of everybody. We want everybody that is in there to want to be there, you know, and it's great. It's no drama. Everybody's so supportive of each other. So I'm really pleased with how everything's been in there. It's been a lot of fun. So if you can see, I'm just using a brush. I'm using airbrush color. I'm just going through and I'm painting this whole area black. And you can see my sketch. I'm going to go right over the top of it because now that I have my other sketches here, I kind of know where I'm bringing that down at. Because this whole area that's sticking out, that's like the little, I don't even know what they're called. They are like the little wooden piece that looks like the honeycomb type on the end of it. That's kind of like what you pick up the honey out of the honey pot with. That's the handle of that that's sitting down in the honey pot. Okay, so I'm finishing to fill this in here. Do you ever have days where you feel like you'd I don't know, you can't get your words out right, you're twisting all around? That's how today's been all day for me. No matter what, doesn't matter who I'm talking to, what's going on, that is how I felt today has been. One of those days. Okay. So now that we have our black painted in, now we can start adding some of the little pieces here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go in with the dark brown first. So all of the parts of the honey pot are going to be dark brown. The little wooden handle here is going to be a little bit lighter. So if you can see it, this is going to be the wood handle. And if it's drying time, I'm going to try to go in here with like a brown edible marker and just do some like wood grain kind of look on it. And then we're going to do this darker brown all in the rest of the parts of the honey pot. The honey dipper, yes, the honey dipper. Okay. And this is just chocolate brown. Both of those browns are chocolate brown. It's just I use different amounts of the coloring and the icing. All right, so I'm going to start with this little bottom part here. And all of the icings I'm using tonight are flood, I believe. I don't think I have any. Yeah, I think they're all flood. They're like a thick flood, like a medium type flood. I don't think I have any that are any thicker than that. All right, so I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit. I tend to like to use a little bit of a thicker flood. You have less cratering, number one, and it dries faster, and you have more control with it. The thinner it is, the less control you're going to have. Now for up here around like this little rim of the honey pot, I'm not going to go where the handle comes out. I'm not going to go over the top of that. I'm going to stop right there. That way, let me move this down a bit. That way when I do the handle, it's not going to be like bumped up over the top of that. If that makes, I don't know if that makes any sense. Sometimes what I have going on in my brain and what I'm trying to say to my mouth, they don't really come together. Hey Carmen, how are you? It's been crazy all around here. We're just trying to get some spring projects done around the house. And it's just nuts. It's just, I feel like this week has been one of those weeks. I did a whole makeover and painted our youngest daughter's room. And we got a new bed in there for her. It's just been like crazy, one of those crazy, crazy busy weeks. And it's only Wednesday. I don't, Linda. I just do it by look and by feel. I haven't really ever counted it. When I was learning, I kind of did a little bit just to kind of know where to judge by looking at it. But I don't anymore. I just do it by feel. But if you were, like this one I just used this brown, if you were to kind of go by that, it's more of like maybe around a 15-second icing. So if you're looking for seconds, that's pretty close. Yeah, Susan, that's fine. Just watch your time in there. Just don't leave them in there for too long. Okay, I'm going to pop this in the dehydrator really quick, and then we'll start on another cookie. Oh, you've been sick, Carmen? That stinks. Okay. So while that's starting, let's go over to our little bee here, because we can do a couple of little parts on him. So I don't know if you're in the Cookie Connection, you would have seen this post. Obviously in their Cookie Crew, you would have seen this post. But if you don't know who the Sugar Art is, they are actually based here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They just released a new line. Actually, they released it at CookieCon, but they had it on their website last week. They just released a new line of edible glitters, and they're 100% edible. They're FDA approved, which I love. They're kosher. I already had some of their Elite Dust, their Color Dust, and Luster Dust, but they did their edible glitter, so I'm going to be showing that tonight. So this one is actually just their white, the white diamond dust. So we're going to be using that on the bee's wings tonight. Oh, the weather sucks there. Listen, it was like 95 here today, which is crazy to me. I'm like, it's April. Can we just have a little bit of spring before we jump straight into summer? But apparently not. Hey Becky, how are you? Okay, so I actually did lie to you a little bit just a second ago. I said all these are flood, but I forgot. I'm using a thicker white because what we're going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of like a translucent look here on the bee's wings. And to do that, I'll show you how I'm going to do that in just a sec, but I'm using a thicker white to do it. I'm also going to do the wings in two parts. So it's going to be like an upper part of the wing and the lower part of the wing. So I'm going to start with just outlining here. And I'm only going to do part of the wing first. This is just a flat brush. That's all I'm using. It's dry. And I just have like a paper towel off to the side that I'm going to use to wipe like some excess off my brush with. So I'm just going to come in here, and right now I have the brush like up and down like this versus flat. And I'm just pulling down a bit just to break up that icing. And then I also like to turn it flat and kind of pull that down. What you want is you want it to be, if you ever seen obviously like an insect's wings or a bee's wings, where they look kind of transparent, kind of translucent, that's what we're going for. But we're going to give it a little bit of shine here with some of our diamond dust. So I'm going to go around one entire part of the wing first, and then we'll put our diamond dust on. Oh, it went from 77 to 44. Ugh, it's the worst. I'm sitting here complaining about it being 95, but I can tell you, I'd rather it be a little bit warmer than 44. I can tell you that. Although it's supposed to be a little bit cooler here on Saturday. Okay, so can you see that a little bit? It has a little bit of that texture, kind of like the brush embroidery kind of look. I don't know if it's real easy to see on camera, but it's kind of like a little bit transparent. So this has a shaker top on it. I'm going to go ahead and just use that tonight. Most of the time I'll use my edible glitters and stuff like that in little the pump bottles. You can even just dip like a dry brush in and sprinkle it on there as well. But we're going to go with the shaker top. So I'm going to add as best I can. I hope it's not going to come out like, this is the first time I've ever used this, y'all. I'm hoping it doesn't come out in like huge clumps, but I'll do my best to not have that happen. And you don't want a ton, you just want a little bit so you're going to get some light reflecting off. Let me brush some of that off. Can you see that? You see how it's giving it like a really pretty, and don't worry about it if it were to go on these parts, because this is going to have it on there as well, and this is going to get covered up with icing. But can you see that, how pretty that is? Okay. And I'll zoom back in a little bit. Let me see. So I'm just dragging some icing down first, and then I'll go back in and kind of break up that border a little bit. But you want to have a stiffer icing when you do this. If it's flood, you're not going to get some of that texture in the icing that you want to have. So that's why I'm using a little bit thicker. It does, doesn't it? I've seen a lot of other cookiers do videos so far using the diamond dust, and I thought it was really pretty, and it's pretty much like I expected it to be. But I love it because it has more of that like disco dust kind of feel to it. But the thing with disco dust is it's really not, it's not edible. It says it's non-toxic, but it's non-edible. So I love this because you don't have to worry about, you know, giving your customer anything or your family, whoever you're going to give it to. You don't have to worry about it, you know, not being 100% edible. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit more to the bottom part of the wing here. It's so pretty. It kind of looks silvery, but it's not. It's like a clear. It has no color to it. These brushes are from Hobby Lobby. I got them in the baking aisle, the cookie and like cake aisle, and they're just there was a pack of decorator brushes. And if you can see, I'm doing the wing in each wing in like 2 parts, so that when I drag down, I'm not dragging down into other icing. It kind of allows me to have a little bit more room, because if I were to pipe all around this right now, I would be worried about, as I'm dragging it down, me hitting that other border of icing. So I'm breaking it up and just doing it in 2 little parts. And I'm just going to spin it a little bit so I can have better range of motion for me. I don't know how I feel about the shaker bottle. I feel like I don't have as good of like aim as I do if maybe I was using a pump bottle, or if I were using like a brush even maybe. But this is fine for this. I'm not too worried about it. But if I were wanting to do like really more detailed with it, I would probably put it in like a pump bottle or use a brush. So I forgot to tell y'all that the honey pot cookie, that is not a cutter from anywhere. I actually just cut out the shape of that in stencil material from my silhouette. I found a picture I liked, and that's what I used. I hand cut it. There probably, I don't know why I'm grabbing that yet. There probably is a cutter out there somewhere that, you know, I think my sister told me she saw somebody made it. I just went on and I just found something I like because I didn't have a cutter like that, and I wanted to make a honey pot. So I can't tell you a specific place to get that cutter because it wasn't a cutter. I hand cut it. But this cute bee is from Sweet Design Shop, and I love her cutters. I have a ton of those. Okay, doing our last little section here of our wing. Okay. Look how pretty that is, y'all. See that? So cute. Okay. I haven't had one clog up yet, but you might just want to take it apart and kind of check out that little mechanism down the center that kind of sucks it up. It might have like a chunk clogged in it or something like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, I have this yellow color. And by the way, this was a thicker white, so it's going to crust up pretty fast. It won't take very long at all to dry. I have this yellow color, and I got this yellow by mixing lemon yellow and a little bit of egg yellow. And it gives it, I don't even know how to describe what this yellow looks like, but it's not super duper bright like a lemon yellow, but it's not, I don't know, it's like the perfect bee and honey color. So I'm filling in the body. And this flood is a little bit thinner because I actually used it yesterday. So it's been sitting for a little bit. Hey Sean, how are you? Yes, the diamond dust is just like jewel dust. So if you have jewel dust, like I have some that I ordered from, like this is a jewel dust that I ordered from the Cookie Countess. The diamond dust is very much like that. The only difference I'll tell you is, well, it's really not. like Jewel Dust, if you've ever used it, it's not a really, really super fine glitter as like if you've seen Disco Dust, it's like super fine. This is a little bit flaky. That's kind of how the Diamond Dust is. It's very similar. Yeah, like deviled egg yellow. Exactly. Okay, so we're going to let this part right here crust up just a little bit. So I'll pop it in the dehydrator. We'll go start some work on our daisy and check on our honey pot too here in just a sec. Did you, Georgia? Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I ordered, I think I ordered 6 or 7 of the colors. You know what? We're going to fill in our honey pot while I have it out here. I ordered, I think, 6 or 7 of the Diamond Dust colors, and then I ordered on the days that they had the free rose gold. So I got the rose gold luster dust, which I'm kind of excited about that too. Okay. So while I have the honey pot, this is crusted up from the dehydrator. So let's go ahead and fill in our sections. I feel like I need to zoom out a little bit. I feel like I'm really close or something. I don't know. Well, I was, because I was showing you guys. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and fill in our other sections of brown here. Yeah, I'm excited to use the other colors too and see. And I should have gotten the yellow, and I didn't, because I was like, oh, the yellow would have been perfect. But their white diamond, it doesn't have any color in it, so you can literally put it over like any color that you want. Whereas like their other colors, the other Diamond Dust that are like colors, they actually have their coloring in it. So like the yellow has yellow coloring in it. Okay. All right. Let me just make sure I don't have any little air bubbles. We'll smooth this out just a little bit. Hey Liz, how are you? You been working in the yard today? Oh, that was me like last week or the week before. I felt like I was working in the yard like every single day. Probably because I really was. Okay. That looks pretty good. And we can go ahead and add our little tan here too for our little honey stick. Yeah, I cannot remember the other luster dust I have from them. I think I have like a champagne color from them and a luster dust and something else. And I was happy with those. But yeah, rose gold I'm excited about because I like rose gold a lot. Like it's one of my favorite. So I was pretty excited to try that out. Okay. Cute. It's cute already. Okay, we'll pop him back in the dehydrator really quick. Yeah, big storm's coming tomorrow. Oh. We have some rain on Saturday, but I don't think it's like necessarily storm so much. I think it's just rain, which stinks because my daughter plays softball, and last Saturday they got rained out, and I think they're going to get rained out again this Saturday. They can't win for losing, that poor team. Okay. Oh, thank you, Donna. Yeah, this little cookie swivel, this one is by the Creative Cookier. It's the little genie swivel. It has the swivel underneath and it has these little non-slip mats. And then this is just an extra non-slip mat that I use underneath. This one is from Bees Baked Art. But anyway, that way I don't have anything slip around, but it's super easy to move when you're wanting to move cookies, and that way you're not have to pick up the cookie over and over again. Okay. You got a dehydrator? Yay! Hey Mona, how are you? Okay. So I am going to go ahead and start the daisy. If you can see, I took, literally all I did was, I used this cap off of my Jewel Dust here, And I just sat it down and I traced around it with an edible marker. I wanted to give myself a really good kind of guide to go by when I was putting the petals on. And then we'll go in after in the end and put the center in. So I'm just using white flood. Hey Gay, how are you? And if you can see every one of these little ruffles, that's going to be a petal that comes out on our daisy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do every other one. That way it has a little bit of time to crust up in between, and then we'll come fill them all in. And I'm still thinking about it. What do you guys think? I think once we get all the petals on, the center's going to be yellow, and we're going to do some fun little jewel dust in there as well. But I thought it would be fun if maybe we even do some airbrushing for some dimension, like on the inside area here around the center. I'll think about it. Maybe with like that same yellow we used on the honey pot. It kind of like ties everything together. And when I'm doing these petals, I'm making sure that I'm like giving them plenty of icing. I'm plumping them up. Ooh, my icing curled. That I'm plumping them up pretty with a lot of icing. That way, one, I'm not going to get as much cratering, and two, they'll be nice and puffy. Hey Dana, how are you? Hey Miss Jane, how are you? I don't know why my icing is curling sometimes like that. I think it's just because the end of my bag is cut kind of small, but I didn't want it cut open really big because, you know what, I think we can do every petal. That way we don't have to wait in between, because see, they're not really touching. I'm leaving room in between them. So we'll go fill every one of them in. Jane says yes on the airbrush. I think it would be pretty too with the airbrushing. So this is a really, really simple, easy flower to do if you're wanting to do a flower, but sometimes flowers can be a little bit intimidating. This is a super, super easy one to venture out on. Just because it doesn't take a lot of effort. Allergy season. Listen, it's been so bad here. All of our cars are just coated in the yellow pollen. It's been terrible. My little one actually stayed home today because her allergies were bothering her really bad all in the middle of the night last night and this morning. It's been really, really bad. Like, we have the high pollen alert come up on, I have it on my phone like every single day. Okay. Pretty, right? So what we'll do is we will, ooh, that looks weird on there. We will pop this in the dehydrator, get these nice and crusted over, and then we'll come in and do our center. And we'll probably add some airbrush. Okay, let me move this over. I think we can check on our bee. Yeah, okay, I think he's okay enough that we can add his head on and start doing that stuff. So I'm going in with the same yellow that I used on his body, and we're just going to flood his head in. And you can see what I mean by, like, when I said it's going to cover all that glitter up, the icing's going to go right over the top of it. So you won't see any of that extra glitter that went over the side there. So we'll fill this in. Now you can see I did not put any icing here at the top. We're going to give him some cute little, or her, whoever. That might make her or her, I don't know. We'll do some cute, like, little antennas up there. Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I love these bright, it's just very springy. It's very cheery. This yellow. Okay. This is not very crusted, but I think it's okay enough that I'm going to add some stripes in, and then we could probably even maybe add antennas by then, and then we'll pop them back in the dehydrator. Hey Sarah, how are you? How are things in the UK? Wow, it's what time there? It's like, let's see, it's 7:40 here. What is it, like 1:40 in the morning, something crazy like that? That's dedication, guys. I'm just trying to make my black. Okay, my black was like, the end of my bag felt like it was clogged up or something. Okay, so this is black. It's just like a medium type flood. And I'm just going to go in and start piping very carefully because this is not very dry. I'm going to pipe on the bee's little stripes here. And I'll tell you, the first time I saw this little cutter from Sweet Design, I was like, I have to have that bee. It's too adorable. And I've literally been like chomping at the bit to use it. So when I was like, oh, I want to do something different. I want to do like a spring theme or, you know, whatever. Just something that wasn't necessarily Easter. And I was like, yes, I can finally use that little bee that I've been really wanting to use. Because believe it or not, I don't have a lot of free time to sit and play with cookies as much as I would love to have. I'm a busy woman most days. Alright, I'm going to do one more little stripe here at the bottom. Alright. I'll just smooth that out there. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay. For the little antennas, I think it would be really cute. Hey Louise, for the most part, no. I can tell you a couple of tips to try to get around bleeding as much as possible. I usually don't have a whole lot of bleeding, period. When I make a big batch of royal icing, I always add in a little bit, like a few squirts of white icing coloring, like gel coloring. That helps to kind of give your icing a barrier, so when you're adding other colors later, it just keeps them from bleeding into each other. Also, if you are using a little bit of a thicker icing when you're flooding and things like that, and not super thin, I usually find that that helps with less bleed as well. You're spending half your night watching cookie tutorials. It's chilly there. Like I said, I don't want to complain about the heat because some people would trade that, I think. But I'm not wanting it to be 95 here yet either. I want a little bit of spring. So if you can see, I just piped two little thin black lines here at the top. And I have a red. So we're going to go in with the red, and we're just going to do some cute little hearts on the end of the antenna here. I think I want to make this be a girl. I think that's what it's going to be. And then I'm going to give her some lashes, because what girl doesn't love lashes? Am I right? Okay. So I'll lift that up, because I don't really want to zoom all the way in. So can you see that? I just did the little black lines, and we did two little tiny cute red hearts. Okay? All right. Catherine, you gave it up for Lent? Nowadays, giving up social media for something like that, that is like tough to do. I can only imagine. Okay. While our bee is drying a little bit and our flower is still drying a little bit, let's get our honey pot back out. So really there's only two other things I'm really going to do on this one. I'm going to do some dripping honey coming out of the pot. And then I thought it would be cute just to write honey across here. And we'll probably just do that in black. So let's add the dripping honey first. And I'm going to reclip my bag. Okay. Let's see. Where do I want all of my drips to go? I don't know. I'll probably just do kind of a bigger one, a smaller one, and some drips. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to start up here because, again, it's like it's coming over the edge of the pot, right? Okay, so there's one big glob. Glob, that doesn't really sound too cute, but that's what it is, right? A glob of honey. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit more here. I'm kind of plumping up these ends a little bit just because I want it to really look like it's real thick honey, you know? And then we'll do like a couple of like little drops, little drip drops of honey. Cute. Okay. I'm loving it. Okay. So for the black, I'm going to cut this open a little bit. Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be dry enough for edible marker or not. If it's not, I'll use a little paintbrush and we'll just do that with like a little bit of like airbrush color or something. But we can do that. Okay. So like I said, I am going to just write honey, and I'm going to turn it sideways a little bit because that's comfortable for me when I'm writing. And I'm not going to use a Pico or anything. I'm just going to freehand this. What do you guys think? It's so cute. Okay, so let me do this because I know for certain that that's not dry enough. So we'll go ahead and we'll just do some real light painting on there. Let's see here. I'll get my brown airbrush color here. Hey, Cheryl. You know what? I don't think so. Well, not like this anyway. Because when I found the image I wanted to use for this, we found out that you cannot, it doesn't have commercial rights. So you can't use it to make any like commercial products. So we won't be from this one. Will we make another honey pot? Possibly. Possibly. If I find another one that I like well enough. Believe it or not, I'm kind of picky with some stuff, especially with cutters. I'm like, no, I don't like that. It has to like really strike my fancy. I wish I could make this one, but the person that made the file, the picture, like the clip art picture, doesn't have commercial rights. So, okay. So I just have this really, really thin little brush, and I'm using, here's my paint palette off the side. I just put like a little drop of brown, and this is just warm brown. My bottle, you can see how much I use it. It's almost gone. I'm going to do this very, very light because I don't, I'm going to wipe some of this off because I don't want to puncture my icing because it's really not very dry at all. But we'll add a few little details here. Like I'm barely kind of hovering atop the surface here of this because I don't want to put any kind of pressure because it'll puncture the surface of the icing. What do you guys think? Hey Loretta, how are you? Yeah, you can still use it yourself. Like for this, I'm not making a cutter to sell commercially to anyone or anything, so you can use it all day long. What you can't use it for is like for us, if we wanted to use that image as for a cutter, like we're making a cutter out of it, or if we want to use it like on a tag, or use their image in any way like that, you have to have rights from them. You have to buy like the commercial licensing from them and stuff like that. But for something like this, it doesn't matter. You can use it for personal all day long. Teresa, on our page, there is a, on our Facebook page, there is an option where you can go in the, I don't remember where it is. Carrie would probably know this more than I would. There's an option where you can go to get alerted every time I go live. But I'll tell you, I go live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. Unless something crazy is going on and I get like crazy sick or, you know, who knows. But I'm here like every Wednesday. So you can usually count on me that I'll be here. Cute. I'm loving that. Okay, let me pop this in the dehydrator. Let's check on our flour. I think we'll be pretty safe with filling in our flour here. I'm letting my bee dry a little bit more in there so we can do some details on the face. You could probably use a witch's cauldron. Yeah. You couldn't sell it to your customers? No. I mean, it'd be really hard for them to know that you specifically used that, but yeah, I wouldn't. But like I said, we may find another cute image that we can use, or just sketch one up on our own and do that. So we'll let y'all know if we decide to do that, if we decide to have that cutter. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with this yellow, and I'm going to overlap the inside ends of the petals just a little bit, because I want it to give the illusion of those petals kind of falling, you know, growing out from the center here. And we're going to flood this in with the yellow. Make sure this is nice and puffy. And then I have this like champagne color jewel dust. I could use the same one we used before because there's really no color, but this has a really, really fine tint of like a champagne or yellow color. So I'm just going to use that. And this one is in the little pump bottle. And it's okay if I'm going to let this crust for a second before I put it on, because I can tell you right now that this jewel dust is a little bit heavier and I can kind of see it like sliding. So I'm going to give that like 2 seconds just to start crusting over. Teresa, so there's all kinds of different dehydrators that you can use. The one that I have, we have a link to in our product page. It's a Cabela's, so it's not made for cookies specifically, but I love it. It has 10 trays that you can slide in and out. The front door opens out and comes down, so you're not doing something from like the top. All the airflow is from the back, so it gives you a really good even airflow when you have your cookies in there, so it's getting all of your trays, not from like the top down. So it's a really good one, but there's a lot of really nice ones out there. I've seen some nicer ones on Amazon and stuff too. So I'm going to try a little bit more jewel dust. If this is too heavy, I'm going to use something else. I just feel like I can see it like sliding a little bit. We'll use a little bit. I don't want to like inundate it here with jewel dust, but I thought it would be pretty if we put a little bit on the center. Okay. After this is completely dry, I'll come in and like dust all of it off the petals, but can you see that? It just gives it a really pretty little shimmer. Okay. Yes, I love the Cabela's one. Okay, you know what I'm going to do before... we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and do the airbrushing. I'm just going to use straight yellow, the golden yellow on this one, because it'll really stand out against those white petals. You dropped it, Belinda? That's no good. Okay, I'm going to do this very, very light, and I'm going to do it right on the inside of this, coming around like the center part here. And I'm going to be careful because this is a thinner flood and it's not set. Okay, actually I think I'm going to turn my airflow down just a little bit. I don't want it to blast out my icing here. Because I have to come in a little bit closer, it's going to blow all my jewel dust around too. That's okay. And I'm just going to do a really, really faint airbrush on the inside of my petals here. You can probably even see it blowing my icing around a little bit in the center. Okay. Cute, right? That's so pretty. Okay. Well, Christy, that's a good question. Hey, Diane, how are you? I have about 5 full-size trays full of cookies I've done since like last fall. We're probably going to be doing maybe a cookie auction for charity. So if you guys are interested in that, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. We may be talking about that here pretty soon, coming up after like the Easter holiday. My friend April over at Sweet and Saucy Life does that a couple times a year. All of her cookies she used like in her live tutorials, her classes, all that stuff that she just has. She will auction them off. They'll do a live Facebook auction because a lot of people like to take the cookies that, you know, she's decorated and they'll just keep them, or they want to study them to decorate, or whatever they want to do with them. And you have a live auction, and so we would wrap that cookie extremely well, ship it to you, and we raise money for any given charity. So we'll probably be trying to do something, because I saw her do that, and that's an awesome idea. We always like to give back to like charities and stuff. So I think we're probably going to be doing something like that. Okay, I'm going to pop this in the dehydrator, and let's check on our bee. Okay, it's not super duper dry, but it's crusted enough that we can do some details on the face here. Okay, let me clean my airbrush out, because before we do anything, I want to airbrush some cute, like, normally I like to do kind of like the color dust for the cheeks, where you just dust it on with a dry brush, but the face isn't dry enough to do that. If I were to try to do that right now, I'm going to break the surface of the icing because it's just barely crusted over. So I'm just going to airbrush some little pink cheeks on tonight. So let me just spray out my airbrush really well here for a sec. Yeah, Sarah, you don't have to torture yourself. You can always go back and rewatch these at any time. They always stay on our page. But I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I wouldn't eat them, Gayanne, because like I said, they are hard as a rock. They don't... Sugar cookies with royal icing never really go bad because the icing preserves everything. They won't get moldy or anything. But they are super hard as a rock because they are just left sitting out. So they're not really edible in that way. But a lot of people like to just keep them. Like I said, they'll study them to decorate them, or they just like to have them. But I really like the idea of it because instead of just throwing them out, you know, if someone wants them, they can have them, and we're raising money for something. Okay. So I'm coming in here. It's called, can you please not do that right now? Thank you. This is Pinch of Pink by the Cookie Countess. I love this for cheeks. It's another good pink because it's really, really like light. Okay, I'm going to turn my air back up a little bit here. All right, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to stay a little bit further away, and I'm just going to do a very, very light cheek here. Okay, can you all see that? How I did just a very, very light little airbrushing for the cheeks. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my airbrush gun just so it doesn't dry out. Okay, now what I'm going to do for the eyes, let's see here. I know, right? Collect them like trading cards. Night, Sarah. Okay, so for the eyes, I am going to do something really simple. I'm just going to come in here. We're going to do little round black eyes, and we'll add some little white detail here. Poor Sarah. She was trying to hang in for the long haul, y'all. She needs to get some sleep. I love cookies, but I don't know that I'm going to be sitting up at almost 2 o'clock in the morning watching a cookie tutorial, I can tell you that. Okay, so we added just some little white dots there to the eyes. Gives it a cute little, you know, a cute little thing here. Now, normally what I would probably do, I'm going to add some lashes here in a second too. We'll do that. And you know what? I think I'm going to do it by dragging it out. Because I cut the end of my black bag a little bit wider to write on the honey jar. And if I'm going to put lashes on, I want it to be like a really small opening on the bag. And my bag doesn't have that anymore. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to draw some lashes out from the eye. Which, by the way, is another really, really easy way to do lashes. You know what? I don't know what charity we'll pick yet. There's a couple that are kind of near and dear to my heart for like family reasons. So we may do something like, if you've seen before, last fall we did one for childhood cancer. So it would probably more likely be something maybe like that. But there's a lot of charities that I would love to give to. Okay. So there's some cute little eyelashes on her. Now, like I said, normally, I don't think, I don't really want to tempt it. I would normally go in with like an edible marker and just do like her little mouth and maybe some eyebrows. But I don't want to tempt fate here because she is not very dry. So I think I'm just going to do it with icing, but I'm going to try to be very careful. I used, it's called Pinch of Pink airbrush color. It's by the Cookie Countess. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to be very careful and try to do thin lines here. Because the end of my bag is kind of open kind of wide. So I'm being very careful here. I feel like I can never get the eyebrows to like match how I want them to. Does anybody else struggle with that? Maybe it's just me. And then I'm just going to do like a cute little smile here in the center. Y'all, how cute is she? Oh my goodness. She is adorable. What do you guys think? Okay, so let me grab all three so we can kind of see them together. The inside of the flower probably will not. I have edible glitter everywhere. The inside of the flower obviously will not be very set, but that's not a big deal. I'm going to zoom out, or I'm sorry, zoom out, not zoom in. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can kind of put them all together. So we've got our honey pot. I'm going to be very careful with the flour here because it is not crusted over very much at all. You guys, I am loving these. I think they are too cute. The angry, look, I think that I've done the angry Seinfeld eyebrows a couple of times and had to correct them on cookies. One time I will. On one time on a cookie that I'll, you know, plan on tossing or something like that, I'll do it. They are. Eyebrows are sisters, not twins. That is so true, Jane. What do you guys think? Give me some hearts if you're loving this little set. I am loving it. I especially am obsessed with this little honey pot. Well, I'm obsessed with the bee too. I like all of them. I love all of them. All together, they're adorable. So you can see if you wanted to do this like in a baby shower set, how cute they would be. Like you could do some little onesies with like honeycomb pattern on them, onesies with like a little bee on the chest. You could do like the little word plaques that say like baby, like the cutters. You could do that with like honeycomb on the back and then write, you know, do like baby. There are so many things you could do. You could do these for like first birthday. You could do these for just a springtime set. But yeah, I'm loving them. I think they're adorable. They may be one of my favorite sets, really, that I've done in a while. Why are you so angry? I know, right? You gotta love Seinfeld. Does anybody have any questions for me on anything you saw? Do you need me to tell you? Maybe you missed a airbrush color name, something like that. Because sometimes I get rattling on and, you know, you may not have heard anything. Okay. Well, if no one has any questions for me, I think that is it. But I am loving them. I'm happy with how they turned out. They're super duper adorable. If you all are not a part of the DB Cookie Connection group, check that out because it's a lot of fun. Join us in there. It's completely free. And you might meet some cookie friends around you. So check that out if you're not a part of it yet. Your youngest son is 28. I say that too. Like every day I'm like, oh yeah, I need to have another baby. And then I'm like, no, I don't. No. This one. This is the one that I hand cut. I just cut a template out with stencil material with my silhouette machine. And I just hand cut around the template. The bee is from the Sweet Design Shop. That is where that's from. And this is actually a really old cutter I have. It is from like the 101 piece Wilton set, like the plastic cutters. That's what that is from. But any like little ruffled type or flower cutter, you could do the same thing with. You guys are so welcome. The name of what? Which name? Oh, the group. The group is DB, D as in dog, B as in boy, Cookie Connection. So if you want to look us up on Facebook, we would love to have you in there. Yeah, DB, so it stands for dots and bows. So D is in dots, B is in bows, and then it's Cookie Connection. But so far it's been fun seeing where everybody is from. Carrie, you made it the Cookie Connection? I thought it was DB Cookie Connection. Oh, Carrie says it's no DB. See, I don't even know. She helped me create the group earlier this week. I was busy probably painting my daughter's room or doing something, I think it was. And she created it. I thought we had talked about DB, but you see, y'all see how much I pay attention. So it's just the Cookie Connection. Oh yeah, like I said earlier in the live, the link to it is in the keyword stuff. So if you put in honey and follow all the stuff in there, you'll get to it. We put it in there. We put the stuff for the tags and the ebook on our website and the product page for like everything that I use. Okay? So if everybody's good, I think that's it. Yeah. So I will talk to y'all next Wednesday. Okay? You guys have a great night and a great rest of the week. Bye.